Let's start with the first one. Brighter future, the Knicks or the Oklahoma City Thunder?
I think this is an easy answer here. It's the Thunder. Oklahoma City's the youngest team ever to win an NBA playoff series, ever. And they're the second youngest in the league this year at 24.12 years on opening day. So you now have basically, JT, as we saw at the end of that series against Dallas, where Josh Giddey, he's a bench guy now. You have a guy like that is essentially a sixth man. He might be my prediction next year in the NBA preview show for sixth man of the year.
I mean, it's probably going to be on a team where he can play, a bigger role, but
maybe. But I mean, I think contract-wise, he's still locked up. Then you've got Wiggins, you've got Jalen Williams, Jaylin, coming off the bench too. And then you have that guy, Jalen Williams, your guy, J.
Oh, yeah, my guy who I went out on a limb and predicted he win Rookie of the Year, but he fell just a hair short.
Which he didn't, because I picked
him like Paolo Banchero.
I picked Paolo Banchero, and he won. And then you look at the rookie contracts. They're basically on their rookie contracts. SGA, Shea, he doesn't become really a free agent. He won't be able to get that Supermax until 2025. So you have another year of him under the smaller contract. You have the coach of the year on that team. I mean, I'll let you go, but there's some points with the Knicks that concern me, and I won't get into that. But that's why it's the Thunder without even talking about the Knicks.
I hate that we're starting off agreeing right off the bat. I really thought this show was going to have fireworks, but it's true. It's the Thunder for everything you said. And if we're really looking at their team and why we're picking them, it's their big three. They're all 25 and under, and two of those guys still have an enormous amount of room to grow as players. Like Chet's going to get better. My guy Jalen's going to get better. And Shea is already, can we say he's a top 6 player in the league? And he's also still getting better. For the Knicks, if you're not going to say it, I'm going to say it. I love Brunson, but I think we're seeing the ceiling. Like, this is what he's going to be. And as for the rest of those Knicks guys, like Josh Hart, your guy DiVincenzo, I think they kind of played over their heads a little bit this year, and it felt more like an outlier situation. Like, the kicker is, for me, is that, and also the Thunder big three, they also have like all NBA defensive potential too. Like, Chet could be a shot block leader in the league. Jalen Williams is a very good defender. Shea, we already know he's very good on defense. Like, those guys are both going to grow on offense and defense going forward. It's got to be the Thunder.
Why is DiVincenzo my guy? Why is it just presumed?
You never shut up about him.
We know
about him or Archie Diacono. Those are the only two players
that's not true.
Buy jerseys for.
That is not true. I don't have a jersey of either one of those guys. You know Brunson's my guy. Brunson is my guy. Had him in fantasy. Been telling you that was he's the best free agent signing in the last decade.
Yeah, you should just get that shit on a t-shirt. You're gonna keep saying that until the end of time. Nobody's running with that storyline.
But JT, I disagree with what you said about Brunson. Even if this is his ceiling,
I didn't say it was a bad thing. But
no.
What I meant was, if this is his ceiling, then
it's good enough.
How far they can
get. No, they can go further. If this is his ceiling, that's a great thing. The dude had like 4 games in a row of 40 plus. That's a hell of a ceiling. Give anybody that ceiling. This is the difference. You got to be healthy. That team wasn't healthy. So we don't know what they can fully do with Brunson.
So you changing your mind? Because you could just easily say, okay, if the Knicks are healthy, then they got the brighter future.
But this is why I won't say it is. Because we know what
That's why you won't say it.
No, not about Brunson. I'm not wrong. The thing with the Knicks is we can't trust that organization all the time. Now, they've done better things, but they're over the cap going into this offseason. OG's a free agent.
You don't care about cap, bro.
Hartenstein he has early bird rights, so it means you can limit what you can offer him. And they don't know what they're going to be able to do with Randall. That team right now is really in flux if they don't bring back OG. If they can't bring back OG, JT, it's over for them. They're going to have to rebuild around Brunson again. So that's why I'm not as high on their future as I am with Oklahoma City.
All right. Same question. Brighter future, Anthony Edwards or our guy, Shai Gilgeous?
Well, our guy. Well, no. Ant is my guy. I had him in fantasy. All right. Listen, this is such a JT type.
You do this shit all the time. Anybody's like the cool new trendy player, he's like, oh, that's my guy. I saw him first. Like, no, you did. Like, we all loved
I did,
Anthony
but
Edwards
it's okay. But it's okay.
All right,
Listen,
so
this is such a JT type question. Like, the answer is both. How can you possibly pick who has the brighter future? Like, you can't just pick one. I don't know how you do it in this instance. Like, both have really bright futures if they stay healthy.
I didn't ask this question to say like Ant is trash. I'm just asking which one has the brighter future. One will be better than the other. You know that. That's how this works.
Maybe. Listen, if you're gonna twist my arm and I have to answer one way or another, I'm gonna go with Anthony Edwards because
you taking Anthony Edwards ahead of Shea in fantasy.
Yes, because fantasy is different. Let's not get confused.
Oh, it's different
fantasy
now.
Is different. Fantasy is different.
Whatever you say.
But Anthony Edwards is only 22. Shea is 26. Now, Shea, you talk about ceilings. No, he turns 26. Sorry, he turns 26 this summer. So he's almost 4 years older than Ant. And to be honest, like with what you said with Brunson, are we seeing Shea's ceiling? We may be seeing it. And that's fine if it is. All I'm saying is Ant if he's already playing at such a high level that if his ceiling is even higher right now, I mean, Anthony Edwards, I don't know where that ceiling could be then. This is the difference. His defense, and he has become the face of Minnesota, of that team. It's no longer Cat's team. For a dude to do that at 22, that's unbelievable. And this is the other
you mean
reason.
for a guy that was number one overall pick to come into the league, play well, live the expectations?
He was supposed to.
Who would have thought that would have ever happened? He
was supposed to play second fiddle to Cat, and he's taking it over.
He was the number one overall pick. They picked him with the expectation that he would be a freaking superstar. Like, why are we acting like this is Josh Hart? Like, this is Anthony Edwards. He's supposed to be a generational type player.
It's not your turn to go yet. But
please, can you hurry this up? Because you just saying the same stuff.
You keep interrupting. It was supposed to be Cat's team, but this is the difference. His on-court presence, his athleticism, it's going to become second to none in this league, maybe by next year, if not in 2 or 3 years. So that's why I would say if I had to pick, I'm going to go with Ant.
I mean, I'm not shitting on Ant at all. Like, he's obviously a phenomenal player. And I don't think you watched him a lot this year because I think why I'm not picking him is this will obviously get better. There's still a lot of inefficient areas of his game where it's like,
of course,
a lot of it's based on volume right now, but he can get better, and he's a superstar.
You said brighter future, not brighter future, now.
Yeah, I think it's Shea, and because he's already played at an MVP level the past 2 seasons, and to me, I feel why I think his future is brighter is because his game is basically on cruise control, and it's not reliant on insane athleticism. Like Anthony Edwards could have an injury or wear and tear, just not be the same guy in 5 years from now, where I think 10 years from now, like Shea could be playing like this at 33. Like it's like Luka Doncic. You can't speed him up. It's not based on athleticism. It's just based on all around skill. So that's why I'm picking him as the brighter future. But I mean, I think Anthony Edwards is going to be a superstar too.
All right. So bigger collapse, the New York Knicks or the Denver Nuggets?
This is the easy answer too. I mean, let's be real. The Knicks just ran out of healthy bodies. Like, thank you, Tom Thibodeau. That's just what he does. He runs everybody into the ground. But it's the Nuggets, man. They have the MVP and the best player in the league, right? We agree it's Jokic. And essentially, KCP, your guy, Aaron Gordon, and Michael Porter Jr., who's also your guy, they just were invisible this entire series. Like, everybody in the media just automatically put the Nuggets in the finals from the jump, no matter what they showed actually in the game within the playoffs, and only for the Wolves to blow them out game 6 and the Wolves to have I think one of the greatest game 7 comebacks in history. The Nuggets were up by 20 late in the third quarter.
About midway.
Yeah. But I mean, you think, okay, a team game 7, they're up by 20 at home. Like it's pretty much over. Definitely not the Wolves are going to come back. It feels like they tapped out of that series, to be honest. So I got to go with the Nuggets.
Yeah, I don't know why you put this question on the list because it's so obvious and
Because I
easy.
wanted to see if you were going to take accountability and
The
say, like,
only
hey, like, we need it more from Jalen Brunson. He's a superstar. We need him to put the team on his back.
I mean, he was injured.
Hey, because
he was injured in game.
Jokic's been doing it. Jokic's been doing it. And that's why he's a superstar.
Brunson was injured in game 7. So during the game,
that shit was
in
over
game
before
7,
he got hurt. You know.
So I mean, that's another thing to add why it wasn't like a collapse. To your point, the only other two things I would say is 3-time MVP. You said MVP of the league, 3-time MVP of the league.
I know how many MVPs he got, no matter how much y'all argue that he don't deserve them.
Listen, I'm explaining why it's such a monumental collapse, all right? 3-time MVP on your team, and they won the year before against this Minnesota team, 4-1, and you're the defending champ. So you got to win that one. It's easily the Denver Nuggets.
All right. More pressure going forward. Boston Celtics, your Dallas Mavericks.
I think this is another easy answer. It's the Boston Celtics. You've been to the finals before, 2 years ago? All right. Boston is much more of a sports city than Dallas, and that plays a part here. If Boston was Minnesota, no one would be talking about Tatum and Jalen Brown needing to win one right now. So the fact that Boston is one of those diehard sports towns that are used to winners, the Bruins, the Patriots, the Red Sox, all have titles, it feels like, in the past decade, which I actually think they do, except the Celtics since 2008. So there's more pressure there. And listen, all playoffs, the Celtics have been taking heat for how they play, even in games they win. Even in games they win, JT, it's incredible. So the fact that you win, but you're not winning the right way, this is starting to sound like the Brazilian soccer team. They could win 1-0, 2-1, and it's not good enough because you're expected to play at a certain level in a certain style. And the last thing I would say is, let me ask you this. If Dallas loses, is anyone going to say blow it up? Probably not. If the Celtics lose,
because there's nothing to blow up.
If the Celtics,
there's two guys.
If the Celtics lose, they're going to say blow it up. Trade Jalen Brown.
They said that last year. They say that every year.
Can't win. So that's my point. That's why there's more pressure.
It has nothing to do with the damn city of Boston. You're right. It is the Celtics.
Absolutely does.
The Celtics.
They are the Lakers of the East. If it was the Phoenix Suns, look at the Phoenix Suns. Ain't nobody talking about them anymore. And they got swept.
Because KD's on that team and we expect that from him. It's the Celtics, and I feel bad for them because they've essentially become the 90s Buffalo Bills. And the reason why they're under so much pressure is they keep getting to the finish line of the race and they just not breaking the tape. Like anything that they do other than win a championship is a failure. I'm sorry. All the regular season dominance they have every year and this year, blowing teams out at home by like 20 plus points, that shit does not matter. Like they need to win a title. And to be honest, if we're looking at their body of work over the last 4 or 5 years, technically this is their best and easiest chance to win a championship. You got a bunch of teams left in this playoff that have no championship or finals experience. Like you guys are the vets in this situation. They should win this. And if they don't, I don't even want to be on that team answering questions and what the media is going to do to them if they don't win. So it's the Celtics. All right, well, let's stay with the Celtics. More pressure going forward. Jason Tatum or Jalen Brown? This is a question every year around this time.
It's Jason Tatum. He is the
Your guy, Jason Tatum, who you're like, hey, look, he's the best player in the league at one point.
I didn't say the best
player.
Yeah,
you did.
He is the face of the organization. There's no doubt. He's the face of the Celtics in this moment. It's his team. Don't be fooled. And I'm not comparing these two guys to the two names I'm about to give, but what I'm comparing them to is their status on the team and how they're viewed. You know, Tatum has that like MJ type status where Brown is more of Pippen, right? He's playing second fiddle to Tatum. So by looking at it that way, I think it's clear that it's Jason Tatum has the pressure going forward.
It has to be Tatum just because the media has been so mean and they've been so hard on Jalen Brown the past 2 years to the point where nobody expects him to carry a franchise. Like, you're right. Jason Tatum has gotten that pass, and I feel like you just talked about it. They don't win a championship. I think it's about to expire. Like, the empty 40-point games are cool, but I'm not I'm not seeing him play at the level of like real superstars. Because I think people think he's a superstar. Like guys to me, like Luka, Shea, LeBron, Giannis, Jokic, like even to a degree, Ant right now, like those guys are superstars, and you can see because they raised their level of game and play in the playoffs. Like to me, what's the difference between Jason Tatum and Devin Booker? To me, that's basically what he is right now in the playoffs. And I don't think we're calling Devin Booker a superstar, but Jason Tatum, maybe you're right, maybe because he plays on the Celtics, we're thinking, okay, he's a superstar because he puts up these big empty stat games every once in a while. But if they don't win this year, it's definitely going to be him. And I know that's why he's under the most pressure.
All right, so let's look at it this way. Which legacy hinges more on these playoffs? Luka, Kyrie, Tatum, or Rudy Gobert?
I actually think it's a good question because a championship would just skyrocket the legacy of any one of these guys. But
of course, as any title.
I don't think it's close, man. It's Luka. Just because he has a chance to by far be the greatest player of all time on this list. Like, just look what he's done. I think he's made 5 All-NBAs in his first 6 seasons. And you add a ring to that, and yeah, we're having a different conversation about Luka. Look at what an MVP and a ring did for the conversation all time around Jokic. Like, Luka's legacy will explode if they win it all, to be honest with you. Like, especially they're a 6th seed. Like, he does that, and it's Boston that they take down. Like, because the city of Boston is the end all be all. Like, there's just no way you can keep him out of those all-time conversations. Like, he's going to have all the accolades. He's going to have a ring. At this point, he's just going to be playing to get MVPs, which I think he'll easily get. That's a regular season award. We know his stats in the regular season. So a ring, I think, just ascends him above anybody on this list.
You make legitimate points, and I think obviously it would help Luka and skyrocket him. But I'm going to go Jason Tatum for a lot of the stuff we just said. You mentioned something about Boston. Boston has the easiest path of all the teams in these playoffs to get to the finals. So they've got to at least get to the finals, right? They've got to at least get to the finals. And I didn't look at it, JT, as far as what a title does for the guy. The way I looked at it is
who needs one the most?
Who needs one the most?
I guess you could look at it.
What a loss in these playoffs without a ring does to your legacy.
So you because with Luka as like a legacy saving time. I took it as like which one of these guys is gonna have like their legacy enhanced by this title. Right. I think it's Luka just because it'll put him in such a different stratosphere over these guys. You won't be able to catch him.
It would, but this would be my argument to that. My counter to that is he's going to get other chances. He always will. Right? It doesn't matter what.
We say that, and then his ass could end up being Jason Tatum. And talking about him 2 years from now. I was like, he needs to get it done.
I'm glad
the pressure for Luka will come.
But what I'm saying is I'm glad you said that because I'm going to get to the point with Tatum is that if Luka goes somewhere else and wins, JT, it's fine. He'll be fine. His legacy will be intact. My whole point goes back to the Boston thing. You've been together with Jalen Brown for 7 years. Bro, it's like you said. They're starting to become the Buffalo Bills. No one in this day and age, whether it's the NBA, the NFL, any league. I don't care if you look at European soccer, doesn't matter. To be together with that core, with the duo that they have for 7 years and not win anything, that's unheard of anymore. And why I'm saying it would need to be a legacy saver is if they don't win it this year, I think it's almost guaranteed they're going to have to do something different. Maybe Brad Stevens.
They're going to fire their coach.
Maybe Brad Stevens leaves. We don't know. But then that's a domino effect of what's going to happen to Jalen and Jason Tatum. And this is what I'm saying is if he doesn't win in Boston, his legacy will never be complete because he could go and be second fiddle to KD and Booker.
So basically, if you don't win in Boston and pull a Warriors move KD did, it won't count.
Let me finish. If Tatum goes somewhere else to have to be second fiddle and win and it not be his team, it doesn't matter. Yes, for him, that's great. But the legacy, when you're talking about legacy,
he'll be KD.
He won't even be that because KD is potentially a top 10 player all time. Tatum will never get. Can you just forget those little jabs that you've got to take. Because
no, I'm
an
serious.
argument, yes,
I'm not trying to be funny. Like, you
yes,
really think AD is a top 10 all-time player?
An argument can be made for that.
No, it cannot. He's not even close. You
Whatever.
can roll your eyes all you want to.
I'm gonna roll my eyes because that's ridiculous.
You don't even KD is a top 10 all-time player. We're just gonna put him in there.
But the fact is, you don't even think it's a consideration is the problem.
It's
you
not.
sound like the MJ fans that think LeBron is not even a top 2 guy.
I'm sorry.
So anyway,
you wrong.
So anyway, back to my point is, if he can't do it in Boston, his legacy is done. It doesn't matter if he goes and wins it somewhere else. It won't be his team. You got to do it in Boston. If Kobe couldn't do it in LA and ended up going to Dallas to win, he wouldn't be the Kobe Bryant that we know of as far as the basketball player. It's fact. Right. Same with Tatum.
You got Tatum. All right. That's a long way to get to that answer. All right.
Because you always have to interrupt. You always have to take forever.
Jabs. This show got a time limit. You see that ticker at the top right there?
We're fine. We got plenty of time. People like
ask questions.
People like to listen to it.
They do
Relax.
More likely to take a leap into superstardom. So when we say this, we mean like a full-time superstar, not just flashes.
Yeah.
Halliburton, Ant, or Brunson. I think I know where you're going with this one.
Yeah. Well, I think all three can get to that superstar.
And they could.
I definitely think. But more likely, since that's the actual question, I'm going Ant. What do the young kids say? Like, he is him, something like that, I think.
Please don't do that. And you know what? I'm not the only one that would tell you personally, don't do that. I feel like you're by yourself right now, so don't do that.
You've texted me that before.
I can do that.
But no, Jerry.
I can hear Jimmy. That's why.
Wow. Jerry West. He said, like, all these guys want to be dogs, right? They think of themselves as dogs. And he's like, when I played, I wanted to be the wolf. I was the wolf. And Ant he's that guy, right? You're going to have all these other guys playing, thinking they're the guy. But Anthony Edwards is truly that guy. And he has that attitude about JT. He's doing it in Minnesota. If he was doing exactly what he's doing now in New York for the Knicks and they were in the Eastern Conference Finals, bro, he would own Madison Avenue.
They would say he's the best Knicks player of all time already.
That, and he'd be the Joe Willie Namath of the city. It would be ridiculous. So it's Anthony Edwards.
I agree. It's Ant. Just because the media hype that's around him. Like, every time I turn on the TV, they're calling him Michael Jordan. I'm like, what? Like, I don't agree with that, but I said this before. I think Ant has a real good chance to be the next Dwayne Wade. I know that doesn't sound sexy, but like, if you told a guy to enter the league, like, hey, you can choose what's in the mystery box or you could have Dwayne Wade's career, I guarantee those guys are picking Dwayne Wade's career. And I think Ant could be that type of player. But I mean, just the hype around him, like I said, is crazy. Like, even when he doesn't play well, like, they're clamoring for him to be the new face of the NBA. It's like, he's got the personality, and I think he has that plus the game, which I don't think the other two have. Like, I don't think Brunson's personality is really marketable. I haven't seen it. I don't think Halliburton's like that kind of energetic guy like Ant is, where everybody's going to kind of like gravitate toward it. Like, I think Ant is like, imagine if what Westbrook would have been like, how the media would have treated him during his prime if they actually liked him. And I think that's what you can see with Ant. Like, that's a superstar. Like, this guy that's put up these crazy highlight reel numbers. Like, it's exciting. Everybody wants to see him play. But he's also going to make the media laugh their ass off after the game. So that's why I think it's him, because he has both on and off the court.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
and he's been in a movie. Like, did you see the movie he was in? Like, that shit was hilarious.
Listen, that's a great movie. I must say. Great movie. All right. Anything else on that?
No. It's Ant. We both agree.
Yeah, no, I think that's clear. And again, not a knock on Halliburton or Brunson, but Ant is that more likely superstar. So let's go with predictions. All right, we always have fun with this. We like this. Let's go. Who do you got? Conference winners for the conference finals, and then give me your NBA Finals winner.
All right, so I got the Pacers beating the Celtics because they should have beat them game one. And
I hope that don't come back to haunt the Pacers.
That BS made me stay up way later than I wanted to. And plus, this is what the Pacers have done. Like, they don't foul at the end of the games like the previous series, and it's cost them, and they battle back. So I think they're going to do it. And I'm going with the Mavs. something about Luka, man, and him and Kyrie. I feel like they both like reinvigorated each other, and it seems like it's time for both of them. So that's why I'm going. And then finals, I'm gonna go Mavs in 5.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go Dallas. We've both talked about them, and I mentioned they're my team out of the West. I just think it's their time. There's something about them, and they have that depth. PJ Washington, don't sleep on that guy. I've got to go Boston, though. I don't see Indiana being able to win 4 games. I think it's going to be a 6-game series. Should have been 7 after game 1, but I just don't think Indiana can win enough games there, because I also think it sets up Dallas-Boston, which is what, JT? Kyrie going back against this former team.
Nobody cares about that storyline.
Yes,
that storyline's not even real. Like the
that
media
is a real
hasn't
story.
Even talked about
That's
this. You're just making shit up.
We're ahead of the curve.
Like, oh my God, Kyrie's coming back to Boston. We want to see this. No, we don't.
We are ahead of the curve. Not
you
even social media.
Don't put us on this group.
It hasn't even garnered.
It
hasn't even garnered momentum on social media. We're even ahead of social media. That's amazing in this day and age. You're welcome. And then NBA Finals winner, I got to go Dallas. I just don't think Boston. I don't think Boston's going to have.
They ain't going to do it until they show us.
Right. Exactly. They're not going to have enough fortitude to be able to overcome Dallas.